Right now, as you're listening to these words, the universe is trying to tell you something. There are signs all around you. They're not just coincidences. There are patterns that repeat themselves, sensations that linger, encounters that seem impossible to explain. Eckhart Tolle has spent decades studying how the universe communicates with us, and what he's discovered about these signs could completely change how you understand everything happening in your life. If you've noticed certain things repeating in strange ways, if you've felt a restlessness you can't quite put your finger on, if you've encountered people or situations that feel loaded with meaning, this video will finally reveal what the universe is trying to show you. But before we go any further, I need to warn you about something essential. What I'm about to share isn't superstition or wishful thinking. It's a profound perspective on how consciousness operates and how life constantly offers opportunities for awakening, if you know how to recognize them. Tolle wrote something that serves as a foundation for everything we're going to explore. Life will give you whatever experience is most helpful for the evolution of your consciousness. How do you know this is the experience you need? Because this is the experience you are having at this moment. Did you hear that? There's no such thing as a random experience. There are no purposeless encounters. There are no meaningless signs. Everything happening in your life right now is precisely what you need to evolve. But most people miss these signs. They're so lost in the stream of thoughts, so identified with their personal stories, so trapped in unconsciousness that the signals pass by unnoticed. And when a sign is ignored for long enough, the universe turns up the volume. Research in neuroscience confirms something fascinating about how our brains process signals and intuitions. Scientists at the University of New South Wales discovered in 2024 that the brain functions as a vast predictive machine, constantly comparing sensory information with past experiences. What we call intuition or gut feeling is the result of brain processes that happen below the level of consciousness. That means when you have a feeling that something is significant, when a pattern grabs your attention, when a coincidence feels too loaded to be accidental, there's real processing going on. Your brain is detecting something important. Now, let me share the signs that indicate the universe is trying to get your attention. The first sign is the repetition of patterns you can't ignore. Tolle teaches about something he calls the pain body, patterns of suffering that repeat in our lives. But there's a deeper aspect to this. Patterns don't just repeat to perpetuate suffering. They repeat because they contain a lesson that hasn't been learned yet. Have you ever noticed how certain situations seem to come back again and again in your life? The same type of relationship, the same type of conflict, the same type of frustration. This isn't bad luck, it's the universe presenting the same lesson in different forms until you finally learn it. Jung, the psychologist who coined the term synchronicity, observed that these repetitive patterns often occur during times of significant transition in life, when we're on the verge of an evolutionary leap. The universe intensifies the signals. If you're noticing patterns repeating with unusual frequency, pay attention. The universe is saying, there's something here you need to see. There's a lesson you need to learn. There's an awakening waiting to happen. The second sign is synchronicities that defy explanation. Tolle describes this powerfully. Sometimes, maintaining that space of simple presence activates other factors that then seem to come from the outside to change the situation. You have activated the intelligence of totality. And that is why people talk about synchronistic things happening. Suddenly a helpful factor appears. Suddenly the right person shows up. The right thing happens. Almost miraculous when you don't know it's natural. Or synchronicities are meaningful coincidences that seem impossible to explain through conventional logic. You think about someone and that person calls. You need specific information, and it appears unexpectedly. You're facing a difficult decision, and a clear sign emerges out of nowhere. Research in transpersonal psychology shows that synchronicities often occur during times of psychological crisis, important life transitions, or intense spiritual practice. They function as psychological markers, offering a sense of guidance or validation when we face uncertainty. If you're experiencing an increase in synchronicities, this is a sign that something significant is happening at the level of consciousness. The universe is communicating in ways that transcend linear logic. The third sign is a persistent unease that won't go away. Tolle describes a phenomenon that many people in the awakening process experience. Many people who are going through the early stages of the awakening process are no longer sure what their outer purpose is. What moves the world no longer moves them. Seeing the madness of our civilization so clearly, they feel somewhat alienated from the culture around them. This unease isn't a problem to be solved. It's a sign that your level of consciousness is rising beyond what your current life can contain. It's like a piece of clothing that's become too small. The discomfort exists because you've grown. Neuroscience shows that when we have a strong intuition, when our body gives us signs of discomfort or warning, there's real communication happening through the gut-brain axis. The vagus nerve transmits information from the gut to the brain. And recent research suggests this pathway can influence our intuitive behavior. If you feel a persistent unease, a sense that something needs to change, that life as you know it can't continue the same way, this isn't depression or dissatisfaction. It's the universe pushing you towards the next level of evolution. The fourth sign is encounters that feel destined. Some people enter your life and immediately you feel there's something significant about the encounter. It's not romantic attraction necessarily. It's a sense of recognition, of purpose, that this encounter isn't accidental. Tolle teaches, you are not in the universe. You are the universe, an intrinsic part of it. Ultimately, you are not a person, but a focal point where the universe is becoming conscious of itself. When you encounter certain people, it's as if different parts of the universe are recognizing each other through human forms. These people often bring lessons, challenges, or opportunities that are precisely what you need for your evolution. Research on synchronicity, or meaningful coincidences, shows that these significant encounters often act as catalysts for change. They can push you to explore new beliefs, to meditate, or to seek practices that expand your consciousness. If you're having encounters that feel charged with meaning, that leave you with a sense that something important has happened, pay attention. The universe is placing people in your path for a reason. The fifth sign is crises that destroy old structures. This is perhaps the most uncomfortable sign, but also the most transformative. Eckhart Tolle teaches evolution occurs in response to a crisis, not infrequently a life-threatening one, when the old structures, internal or external, are breaking down or no longer functioning. A job loss, the end of a relationship, illness, the death of someone close, financial collapse. These experiences are not punishments from the universe. They are demolitions of structures that no longer serve you. When everything you've built starts to crumble, there's a possibility that something much greater will emerge from the ruins. Tolle himself went through a devastating crisis at 29 that preceded his spiritual awakening. Research in transpersonal psychology documents that a large percentage of spontaneous spiritual awakenings happen through trauma or crisis. The pain breaks down the ego's defenses and creates an opening for something transcendent. If you're going through a crisis, If structures in your life are crumbling, consider the possibility that this is exactly what needs to happen for something new to be born. Now that you know these 5 signs, the most important question is, how do you respond when the universe is trying to tell you something? Tolle offers an answer that seems simple, but is profoundly transformative. He teaches, the next step in human evolution is not inevitable, but for the first time in the history of the planet, it can be a conscious choice. Who is making this choice? You are. And who are you? Consciousness that has become conscious of itself. The first thing you need to do is stop resisting. Most people, when they receive signs from the universe, immediately start fighting them. They want the patterns to stop repeating without learning the lesson. They want the lingering unease to go away without making the necessary changes. They want the crises to end without allowing the transformation. Tolle warns, it is when we are trapped in incessant streams of compulsive thinking that the universe really disintegrates for us, and we lose the ability to feel the interconnectedness of all that exists. Resistance is what blocks the universe's communication. When you're completely identified with your thoughts, when you're fighting against what is, you close yourself off to the signs. You literally stop seeing them. The second thing is to cultivate presence. Tolle explains that synchronicities happen when you maintain the space of simple presence. When you're present, you activate what he calls the intelligence of totality. And it's from this intelligence that the signs become visible and comprehensible. Research on intuition shows that people with more experience in a certain area develop more reliable intuitions because the brain has more information to compare with the current experience. Similarly, the more you practice presence, the more attuned your ability to recognize the signs from the universe becomes. The third thing is to act when the sign is clear. Many people recognize the signs, but do nothing about it. They wait for more confirmation. They wait for the path to become perfectly clear. They wait for the fear to disappear. Tolle teaches, when you become comfortable with uncertainty, infinite possibilities open up in your life. It means that fear is no longer a dominant factor in what you do, and no longer prevents you from taking action to initiate change. The universe won't give you a complete map. It will give you the next step, and when you take that step, the next one reveals itself. That's how cosmic guidance works. But there's a danger I need to mention. A danger that can make you interpret the signs in a distorted way. The spiritual ego. Tolle constantly warns about this. The ego has an incredible ability to hijack spiritual teachings and use them for its own glorification. You can easily start seeing signs in everything, transforming every coincidence into a cosmic message that validates what you already wanted to do. The difference between genuine intuition and the ego in disguise lies in the quality of perception. Genuine intuition comes with a feeling of openness, of surrender, of being in service to something larger. The ego in disguise comes with a feeling of specialness, of being chosen, of having access to knowledge that others don't. Researchers warn that it's important not to confuse desires and wants with intuition. Addictive desires can seem like intuition because they give a natural, internal sensation of doing something. The key is to develop enough self-awareness to distinguish between the two. You've just discovered the signs that indicate the universe is trying to tell you something. This truth has been ignored because the rational mind dismisses synchronicities as coincidences and intuitions as imagination. When you click on super thanks, you become a guardian of this wisdom about cosmic communication. It's not payment, it's positioning. You've chosen to listen to the universe. Now I want to leave you with a concrete practice that you can apply immediately. For the next 7 days, keep a signed journal. Every time something seems significant, a coincidence, a pattern, a strong sensation, write it down. Don't judge, don't analyze. Just record. At the end of the week, reread your notes, look for patterns, look for themes, look for messages that repeat in different forms. This simple practice starts to train your perception to recognize the communication of the universe. And over time, you'll discover that the signs were always there. You just needed to learn how to see them. Remember what Tolle teaches. You are here to allow the divine purpose of the universe to unfold. That's how important you are. You're not an accident. Your life isn't a series of random events. Every experience, every encounter, every challenge is part of a larger process of evolution of consciousness. And the universe is constantly communicating with you, guiding you, showing you the next step. The question isn't whether the universe is speaking. The question is, are you listening? Tolle concludes with a truth that really sums it all up. Being spiritual has nothing to do with what you believe, and everything to do with your state of consciousness. You don't have to believe in anything to receive the universe's signs. You just need to be present enough to perceive them, conscious enough to interpret them, and courageous enough to act upon them. The signs are all around you right now, the repetition of patterns. The unexplainable synchronicities, those meaningful coincidences, the lingering unease, that persistent restlessness, fated encounters, those serendipitous meetings, transformative crises. Each of these signs is a door to a deeper level of consciousness, a door to a life more aligned with your purpose, a door to awakening. And the universe, in its infinite wisdom, will keep sending you signs until you finally see them, because that's the nature of evolution. It doesn't give up. It persists. It finds pathways. The question is, are you going to keep ignoring them? Or are you finally going to pay attention? You are on the path. The fact that you're watching this video is already a sign. It's already a synchronicity. It's already the higher power guiding you to exactly what you need to hear in this moment. Trust the process. Trust the signs. Trust the intelligence that operates through everything. Controversial point. Tolle teaches that life will give you whatever experience is most useful for the evolution of your consciousness. This means that nothing is accidental, and that every difficulty is a lesson in disguise. Do you agree or disagree? Comment below what sign the universe has been sending you repeatedly and what you think it means. I'll be responding to everyone in the first 2 hours.